Hello everyone, welcome to my channel ETL Hub. This is part 2 of the series where we are trying to load bulk API data into our load tables using data integration services in IICS. So this is the continuation of part 1. In this part 2, we will try to understand what is pagination, and top of that we will also learn to write the ETL framework using pagination mechanism. Let's get started. The limitation with existing mapping is such that we can fetch 100 records at a time, and every time like we send this request, it will fetch for the offset 0 and limit value is 100. So every time when you run this mapping, it will fetch only first 100 records of the request. So how to come up with this? So we have terminology like pagination. So what is pagination? Basically, when you go to the Google and try to search for Samsung mobiles, so there are a number of web pages, websites displayed on the Google screen. So if there are like thousands of websites available, so you cannot see everything on single page. So you have at the bottom page numbers. So if you click on the third page, so you will get all the web pages available at the third page. So similar thing applies to this Pokemon API. So if you look it into this, so limit is nothing but page size. So number of records maximum it can fetch in a single request. And offset is like we are offsetting the previous set of records and taking next set of records. So when the offset is 0, it will take first 100 records. But when you give the offset as 100, it will eliminate first 100 records and take next 100 records, that is 101 to 200. So to come up with this, we need to create a framework in the ETL, that is in our IICS, where we create a mechanism to loop through this multiple API request and load all this 1302 records. So first understand how this looping will work. So just start from the beginning. So initially we have offset value as 0 and the limit value is 100. So when you update this in your table, the next offset value should be 100 to fetch the next 100 records. Limit will remain the same as it is. So it will fetch records from 101 to 200. We will keep it looping till we get till the last record. So the last offset will be like 1300 records. If you take the multipliers of 100, so the next value will be null. That means we don't have any further records after that. So this is how we are gonna write the logic. The flow diagram will be like execute the mapping to load the API data with existing offset value. So what we will do, go to the mapping. During the first run, we will pick the offset value and limit and load those records. And the whatever the output we get from that web service, so that is our next value and offset. So if it is not null, in that case, so when it is a not null, we will update this next value in the table with this new offset and limit, and also update the existing offset value. So we are using the limit as 100, so we will increase it by another 100. So that means the next offset value will be 100 and the next link value will be offset as over here 100 and limit also 100. And we will loop it until the next value is null. So when the offset becomes 1300 as I shown, then we will update that offset value to 0 and also the next value to null. So let's start writing the pagination logic in IICS. So create another target. To update the page control table, add an expression transformation. Click on the roots. Go to the expression. Click on this plus sign. Make it out offset. As it is a number field, make it integer precision. We will increase this value until the next value is not null. So if with the existing offset, we will add another 100 records into this offset, or else we will make it 0 whenever it is null. Remember, this next value is coming from the web service response, not from our source table. So the source table value is in next, but the web service value is next. Field value name. Validate it. Click on OK. Make a link to this target table. Go to the target. Click on the connections. Use the table object as page control table. Now here you need to select the update operation, as we are gonna update the existing record in the page control table. So if you see, the limit currently is 100, offset is 0, count is 0, and next is also null. So go to the field mapping. Sorry, in the target, give the update column as API name. So wherever it finds the Pokemon API as the value API name, that is our key value, it will consider that record for update. Click on OK. Go to the field mappings. Now map the fields. So this is the offset value that we'll get, where we have created an algorithm in our expression transformation. Map the in API name. Limit value remains same whichever it is in the source. The count you will get from that API, that is web service transformation. Map it over here. Next also you will get it from the web service transformation. Click save option. Now click on the new mapping task option. Here is the three dotted buttons. Click on that. Name the mapping task, sorry. Click on the runtime environment. Save the changes. Before that, let me erase all the records which we have loaded into the main table. Now run the mapping task again. Now you can see we have loaded 100 records as well as updated our page control table. Now let's see for the data. So here you can see first 100 records loaded, and here in the page control table you can see the limit is 100, offset is 100, which is matching with our next link, offset 100 and limit 100. And also it has captured the count of the uh, records that we got from the response API. Now again if we run it, it will take next set of 100 records. Let's try to restart it again. Now you can see next set of 100 records has been loaded, and also the Page control table has updated the offset value. If I refresh it, offset value is set to 200. And if you go to the Pokemon table and I try to refresh the data, I can see like next set of 100 records has been loaded. Now let's try doing one thing. We will create this offset as 1300 and we'll see like the next value should be null. Okay. And offset should be set to 0 after this. We will do additional change over here. So whenever we are at the end of the page, we will have an additional out count field. With the type as integer. So if the next link is not equal to null, then we will take the count value from the response web service, or else we will set it to 0. Click on OK, save the changes. Now we have manually updated this offset value to 1300. Now let's try running it. Go to the My Jobs. Again click on this restart option. Now you can see only those 2 records has been loaded and 1 record updated into our page control table. So here you can see now offset has updated to 0 and next value to null. Each time we have to manually update this table. Now let's try to automate this process in IICS. We need to write a framework logic where we will auto increment the offset page, and once the value for the next link is null, it will break the loop. So let's get started. Create a new, click on mapping. We'll create additional mapping for validation whether the next link is null or not null. Go to the connection, create the Oracle connection that you have created. Search for page control table, or you can go with the query option and define the query. You can preview the data. We are able to fetch the data. Now in the target, create a flat file connection. Go to select option and create a file on runtime basis. So this will be just a dummy file. Name this mapping as m loop check. Save the mapping. Create new mapping task on top of it. Save the changes. Now we need to create a task flow. Go to this new button. Click on the task flow. Name this task flow as TF Pokemon data. Save the changes. Now let's initiate the map tables. So make this as 0, offset as 0 and next as null value. So that means when it will run for first time, it will take first 100 records as the limit page size is set to 100. Also delete all the records from the Pokemon table. Commit the change. To drag this data integration task between start and end, give the name as API data load. In the data task, click on the select. Look for the mapping task, the main mapping task from where we are loading API data to our load table. So this is the main mapping task for me. Now what happens? So during the first run, our offset value is 0 and next value is null. So once the response is 200, this will be set to 100 and next to some value where it has offset as 100 and limit as 100 as query param in the URL. So take another data task and name it as loop check. In this, select the MCT loop check. So after the first run, the next link will have some value. It will be not null value when we run this mapping task. So what we are gonna do over here is like we will add a decision step. So if you look at the mapping, so select star from page control table where next is not null. So whenever there is value in the next field, we will load a single record into our target. So what we are done do is in this decision task, we need to select a field that is loop check, go to the output parameters and look for success target rows and it should be greater than 0. If that is the case, that means we need to loop it again. So we will have a jump step over here and it will jump to the API data load. So what happens after first run? It will update the next value something to not null. Loop check mapping task will check whether the value is null or not. If not null, one record will be inserted into your target file and when the value of the target file has more than one record, it will again get looped back and when it loops back, it will take the second offset value that is 100 and it will keep looping till the loop value is null. So when the next value becomes null, there will be no insert of record into your target file and it will go to the otherwise path and it will end your task flow. So let's execute this logic. We have started to execute it. If you look it over here, so it has looped into 3 tasks and if you go and check for the data or in your page control, if you try to reset it, so currently we are with the offset of 200 records. So it is consuming record between 200 to 300. So let's give some time. Sorry, between 300 to 400. At every run of the instance, this offset value will get updated. You can see the records are getting loaded. Now the job has been completed successfully. You can go to the page control table and you can see the values has been resetted to offset as 0, count as 0 and next value as null. And if you look into the table, we have able to load all the data. Let's start. If you take the count and try to validate it, so all 1302 records has been loaded. So that means we were able to do the pagination successfully. Thanks for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe my channel for more videos on IICS. Thank you.